Why was the Romanian Revolution uniquely violent? Imagine a country where the government responds to protests not with dialogue but with gunfire. That's what happened during the Romanian Revolution of 1989. It wasn't like other uprisings in Eastern Europe. Most protests in that era led to negotiations or peaceful changes. But Romania took a different path. The government, led by Nicolae Ceausescu, decided to crush the protests with force. The security forces, including the army, police, and secret police known as the Securitate, fired on unarmed civilians. They used live ammunition, including banned dum-dum bullets that caused terrible injuries. Tanks rolled into cities, and soldiers shot at crowds trying to stand up for their rights. This brutal response turned what could have been a peaceful protest into a bloody conflict. Several reasons explain why this revolution was so violent. Ceausescu's government was one of the most repressive in the Eastern Bloc. It kept power through fear, surveillance, and harsh punishments. The regime built a cult of personality around Ceausescu and his wife Elena, making him seem like a godlike figure. The country was suffering from severe poverty, food shortages, and energy crises. People were angry and desperate, ready to fight for change. When protests started in Timișoara on December 16, 1989, the regime responded with deadly force. The military was ordered to suppress the demonstrations, and many soldiers refused to shoot civilians. This created chaos and further violence. The unrest spread quickly across Romania. The military's failure to control the protests led to armed clashes and street battles. The government's insistence on staying in power at any cost meant more violence. Ethnic tensions also played a role. The protests began with ethnic Hungarians protesting against the transfer of Bishop Laszlo Tokes. But soon, people from many backgrounds joined in anti-government demonstrations. This added an ethnic layer to the violence, making the situation even more complicated. Inside the regime, a power struggle was happening. High-ranking officials like General Vasile Milea, the defense minister, refused to follow Ceausescu's orders to shoot protesters. He died under suspicious circumstances. The military and political leaders were switching loyalties quickly, which fueled the chaos. The regime's brutal response was a desperate attempt to cling to power, but it only made the violence worse. From a broader view, the Romanian Revolution shows how a government that abandons its people and relies on violence can turn a protest into a war zone. Unlike other communist countries that reformed or transitioned peacefully, Romania's leadership chose repression. This led to a bloody rupture that ended with Ceausescu's execution. The revolution was a tragic example of how extreme repression and ethnic tensions can escalate into violence. It also marked a turning point in the Cold War era, showing how the collapse of the communist bloc could be violent when regimes refused to change peacefully.